Good morning, good afternoon, and no doubt good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a special edition of NDB Media's Trekking Across the Universe. And oh my goodness, it's looping. Oops. Sorry. I may not be able to shut that off. Okay, there it is. I am so sorry. I forgot to remove the loop button. So much for technology on this end. Trekking Across the Universe. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It is January 13th, 2023. I think it still is over across the world where our guests are coming in from. But Michael, first off, thank you for being able to make contact with our guests and this program.
Glad to do it.
Let me tell you, it was really good stuff. I saw it again last night. I saw it twice. So I think I may have accidentally inflated their numbers. Do you think they'll forgive me for that? I saw it twice. I think it actually, that was a professional inflation. So take it as you will. But I'm Roger Noriega. That's Michael Day. And we want to go ahead and introduce our guests. And before I butcher any of the last names, just want to go ahead and invite everyone to introduce themselves, please. And I guess we'll go, as far as my screen, we'll go right to left. So why don't you go ahead and start off, Aaron?
All right. Well, I'm Aaron Chappell. I'm the executive producer and production designer for this third installment of Aaron's film. And it's great to be here. So thanks for having me, guys.
I'm Aaron Vanderkley, and I'm the director, writer, exec producer for Resistance.
Yes.
Is that me next?
Yes. I know, I had to make that difficult,
I was
right?
like, which way are we going?
I'm so sorry.
That's all right. I'm Jesse Hyssop, and I played Sam.
All right, and my name is Fraser Murray, and I play the Borg and the captain's son.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone watching us, of course, we are referring to the internet wunderkinds right here. Not just one, but everyone. And they've got some really good stuff right now. Aaron, why don't you tell us about your website and the program, and then we'll get to the actual episode right now.
So essentially we started this Star Trek fan film series probably about 2016. It was supposed to be a one-off short film, and then we got some great attention online and we won some awards, and that kind of continued, and it's continued till basically last year, where we released our ninth film. Nine. That's right. Yeah, 9. No, 8. It's 8 films. I don't even know. It's been so many. But so the last film of our second series is called Resistance. And it's the end of our sort of Voyager inspired series of stories. And it's basically about the crew uncovering a forgotten piece of technology that turns out to be a prototype of the Borg, which takes over the ship and is going to take over the galaxy. And there's a little bit of a sort of human story between the captain and her son, who was killed at a famous Star Trek battle, Wolf 359. And then on the other side of that, we have, the best friend of the son, who is serving on this captain's ship, and he's trying to sort of make a name for himself, and she's very determined to look after him and look out for him. So when she is attacked and assimilated by the Borg, he basically has a little bit of a breakdown, but then tries to save her any way he can. So yeah,
really good stuff. Resistance. It was wonderful how you played a I guess not a catchphrase, but something that almost every Star Trek fan knows from about 1988 on, right? Probably older than all of you guys, but I won't get into that. Star Trek: The Next Generation was on before all of you were born, right?
Yeah, probably like late.
I'm thinking, yeah. Oh my God, Michael!
I feel so old.
Yeah,
The
colonials over here in America. Wow, we just dated ourselves, and not even a good way right now. But it's really good. Before we get into everyone's role, why don't you, Aaron, if you could share with us not only the website where we can find you on YouTube as well, and then we can get your crew in and talk about what it took to get there as far as the production values. Because, by the way, again, you guys, Man, you guys are awesome. Why aren't you building a full-size Voyager set out there in Perth? You can open up a museum and bring people in, and you can have some colonials from America come over and visit.
I mean, that'd be nice. If we had the space, we'd totally do that. If we knew that people would come every day and every hour, it'd be great.
Yeah, it always is the space. But why don't you go ahead, Aaron?
Yeah, you can find our stories either on YouTube at Voyager's Fan Film. Otherwise, we're on Instagram, Facebook. So yeah, hit us up because we get lots of people viewing like one film and they're like, oh, you guys should make more, and we're like, there's another 7 of them online. You just have to do a little bit of digging. So yeah, that's why we sort of made this umbrella brand, I guess, which is These Are the Voyagers, so people can find them a lot easier. So yeah.
Oh, that's good. These are the Voyages. You're right. I had forgotten about the episode right before it, which I remember we had a chance to talk about that episode. But Resistance, when did you get the idea to get this episode going? And why don't you give us a little bit of a background as to what it takes to get an episode on there? And I want to thank Tony Konopka. Thank you for the like, Tony, and Vernon Bernard for joining us. And I believe Vernon we now genuinely have a worldwide audience.
Vernon is in
Bernard,
South Africa.
Yes, as a matter of fact,
okay.
he's a professional musician. So Vernon, thank you. Michael, if we have his website, we got to play that one. Oh, hey, look, Michael got the links at the bottom on the Chiron, which is really neat. So that's what we call it out here in the States, the Chiron. What do you guys call that little thing that goes along? Yeah. Hey, there's this little streaky
rolling banner. I don't know.
Yes.
The news headlines. Yeah, the news headlines. Yeah, ticker tape. Yeah.
Ticker tape, yes. The headlines as well. But go ahead. And Fraser, Jesse, of course, jump on in. But Aaron, why don't you give us an idea? Because a lot of the fans, your viewers, fanatics, everything, they oftentimes don't know how long it takes to do this. Because, again, this is something that you all contribute on, whether it be time, effort, which is the same thing. But there's a lot to it. So please jump in on that. And once we talk about the background, then we'll get into the episode.
Probably after we did Line of Duty, which is about 2018, I decided to take a little bit of a break because I kind of felt a little bit burnt out. And I took a year, COVID hit. And then when you can't do something, you're forced not to be able to do something, it kind of makes you want to do something. So I started thinking about doing a second series. We're only going to do 3 stories rather than 5 this time, just so it didn't get a bit too much. But yeah, basically from that first script, which was Beyond the Sun, I had sort of the 3 stories plotted out as to what I was going to do. And yeah, this one in particular evolved significantly from a cast and crew moving around the world, and so that kind of changed. But yeah, so we probably started building sets for this story. It's hard to remember what year we're in. Probably November, December 2021, and then we shot in January, February, and March of 2022. So it's almost a year ago for us. And yeah, so we'd started building sets before we had the script finalized because it changed because we lost people and ideas slightly modified. So we were building sets before we had a final draft. We didn't do a casting process for this story because, again, with COVID, it was going to become a bit messy. So I pre-cast with all the actors in mind. So in this instance, like I probably messaged Jesse out of the blue and was like, hey, I want you to be the lead role in a film. And he was like, what?
What are you talking about?
and the same with Fraser. Both Jesse and Fraser were in previous films. Fraser didn't have any lines, but I could see that he was a good actor. And I was like, I need to give this guy actual meat to play.
You knew I could die well, you know?
Yeah. So he get punched in the face, and I thought, oh, he probably could do a bit more than that. So like Jesse, I messaged Fraser and was like, hey, I've got this part for you. And the same with Kate, obviously was in the previous 2 films. So that's how we wanted to bring her back and give her a more substantial role and get her to play 2 different characters. And then Rachel, who played the ops character, I met Rachel doing a corporate gig, and she was our sort of minder for this place we were filming in. And we got talking, and she'd just recently moved back to Perth from Melbourne, and she was kind of missing doing acting. And I was like, oh, I've got this project coming up. And she was like, do you want me to audition for it? And I was like, nah, forget about it. I think I do a good job. And so, yeah, that's how she came into that. So it was, it was quick. This was a quick, from building sets to shooting it. It was pretty quick. Yeah.
Excellent. Jesse, what happened when you got that call? What was it like? Hey, I want you to lead an episode. Tell us about that.
It was good because I enjoyed. I was very briefly in. I think it was Line of Duty. Was that right? Yeah. Yep. I had about 3 words, and I was like, "Yeah, nailed it." And we worked together once before on I think it was a music video a few years ago. And most of the time, when I'm kind of picking roles and stuff, the first thing I ask is who's directing, and like, can I read the script? And because I'd worked with Aaron before, I was just like, yes, I will absolutely love to do that. So yeah, it was a pretty easy decision in my mind, and I guess Aaron didn't hate working with me, so he's asked me to come back. So yeah, no, it was a really good experience. Had a couple more than 3 words this time. It was pretty good.
Just a few then, more than
just a couple. Yeah.
Jesse, I have to inquire because I believe that 2 producers are Star Trek fans, and I've found we have interviewed many. We've been fortunate. We've interviewed very many people here who are both in front of, behind, also in front of a mic, because we've interviewed audio programs. There are a few people that are not Star Trek fans, and I found that odd. Jesse, I've not seen any other interviews. Are you a Star Trek fan?
I'm a fan in passing, but my knowledge of it, to be honest, is pretty limited. It just kind of passed over me as I was growing up. I guess I was just doing other things, but it's something I should definitely go back and watch more of the earlier episodes, which I did get a couple in before we shot. So the whole Wolf 359 story, I was like, what are you talking about? What is this? And probably some of the jargon when we were shooting, I kept screwing up one of these lines. It was closer to the end of the film when I'm talking about the deflector dish and inverting the forward tube and all this. I'm like, what am I saying? What is this? Like, I was like, Aaron, help me. I can't say the words. We got there in the end. There was quite a few takes of me just swearing at myself, and I was like, what's going on?
That's funny. Aaron, that's a great story. I'm sorry, Jesse, that's a great story. I think Michael already realized I was about to go in for the kill when you said, no, they don't have that much.
No, that's fair. No, there's definitely a lot of, I totally understand a lot of passionate fans that are very passionate about characters and stories, and I'm like that with other franchises. But I'd certainly rather not tell fibs and say I know more than I don't, because it's my knowledge on it's quite limited.
I would think that Star Trek fans are the fibbers first and foremost, so you are far from. But it's really cool. So look, as I say to everyone, please jump in. But I want to go over to Fraser. You were, I guess, you were the Kevin Costner of this series, right? Because you know the story of Kevin Costner, right? He was given a role in a movie, and he was a dead body. he was genuinely.
Everyone's going to start somewhere, you know.
Yes, they have to start somewhere. And the thank you, I forget the role that he received right after. It was absolutely famous, but he did a favor to either produce, the director, and played a dead body in I think it was a TV show or a movie, whatever. And that's how he got his start. So, Kevin, Fraser. Tell us how you got started. And first of all, I want to thank everyone for being live and being able to join us, because last time Aaron did an interview with us was what, 8 a.m. in the morning on a Monday?
Yeah.
I was at work, yeah.
Oh, yes. Oops. Well, all for production. But anyway, Fraser, I'm sorry. Dude, tangents. That's what I do.
Hey, it's your show. We're just here for the ride. So do what you got to do.
Tangents.
Fair enough. Fraser, why don't you get in on that one, please?
Yeah. So I think it was it 2018, Aaron, when we first, or was it a bit 2019?
No, 2018. You're right. Yeah.
It was. Yeah. So, I get to this house. And I see this garage is this whole other world. It's like a spaceship and everything. Like, whoa, what am I getting myself into here? But so yeah, I think I play like a Vulcan spy or a Vulcan infiltrator or something. So like, cool. You're just gonna get a little fight scene here, and then you're gonna get knocked out. I'm like, cool. And then I realized we did the fight first, but I had to be a dead body for this because I had a whole second half of filming of the scene to go. So I think for 4 hours I was just laying on the floor, and I was like, yeah, gotta pay your dues, I guess. But yeah, no, it was a really it was really cool experience, and it was really great fun. And similar to Jesse, I didn't really have too much of an experience with Star Trek. I had seen the 2009, the trilogy of Chris Pine and everything. I really enjoyed that. Afterwards, I kind of got a bit more into it because I have a friend as well who's like a walking encyclopedia. He's a massive Star Trek fan, so I was kind of, talking to him about everything and stuff. And then fast forward 2022, my DMs get a hit up from Aaron one more time, and so he wants me to play a Borg character. So we do this script reading and everything, and I've gone from having like no lines to all this technical, assimilation, And he's like, okay, I want you to play. He told me to watch, was it First Contact was the reference point. So I just went and watched that. And, the Borg Queen and everything, and that real, mundane robotic kind of dialogue like that. And just how they kind of, because they're like it's like a hive mind, and just kind of studying that and seeing how they, kind of influence that into the performance and stuff. It was a lot of fun because it's very different. And I think that's what I enjoyed about it. Yeah.
Your thoughts on the movie First Contact, because whether you know this or not, and it's debatable and arguable, it is probably the next generation movie of the four that they, or the 3.5 that they had. Well, Star Trek Generations, there's some argument, but that's neither here nor there. What do you think of the movie First Contact upon seeing it as a reference point?
I quite enjoyed it. I think it would have helped. I should have watched the others first to kind of get more of an understanding.
Oh yeah.
I kind of shot myself in the foot there, but as a standalone, like I like sci-fi. I like the big productions and sets, so I enjoyed it. I understand, it's going to ruffle a few feathers and stuff, but from what I saw, I was really, I liked the story it told and the kind of world building and everything it put together, and yeah, it was good fun.
I'm not sure if you are watching Star Trek Picard, any of you, but this is the reference point. This is how evil I am, Aaron. My daughter and her friends, to bring them in, Aaron, I made my daughter watch, not my daughter. Well, yeah, actually, I made her watch them too. The first Next Generation episode, Best of Both Worlds. I also made them watch, I think it was Borg, the Next Generation 5th season, and then I made them watch some of the Voyager episodes. That's my reference point, Aaron. That's how much of a jerk I am. So they could catch up for Picard. You've seen Picard, right?
Yeah.
Are you a fan of Picard, Aaron?
I would say so. I think it's there are 3 obviously very distinct takes. Well, the third one's obviously going to be very distinct from the other 2 seasons. I think there were some good parts of it and there were some not so good parts of it. But yeah, I thought it was. I think it's a good show. I think it's a if that's the way to bring, I guess, a 90s or 80s TV series into the modern era, then that's how the new audience was going to take to it. So yeah, I'm excited to see number 3.
Okay, fair enough. Now, Aaron, and I apologize, Aaron, how do you pronounce your last? Is it Chapel?
Yeah.
Okay, well, at least I got that
Got
one.
it in one.
that one I'm going to take as a score. Aaron, why don't you tell us about your involvement, how you got into this, and then tell us what you did for this episode as well. I guess I have to look straight up, right? Yeah.
I know, you're about to break your neck looking at me up there.
Yeah.
Well, prior to meeting Aaron in 2020, I had never seen an episode of Star Trek. It was on a station, SBS, late at night on TV, and I would walk past and it'd be on, and I'm like, what is this weird show? And then I met Aaron, and all of a sudden I've fallen in love with it, haven't looked back ever since. We're currently watching Deep Space Nine just to catch me up on the previous series. But yeah, I wouldn't watch anything else other than Star Trek because Voyager was my favorite. I loved Janeway, anything to do with Janeway and just the crew is great. But with this film, so over the last 3 films, I was involved in designing and building all the sets, painting everything, making the spacesuits, all the chest pieces for the spacesuits, the helmet. If you think of it, it was probably Aaron and I that did it, with help from Aaron's mum doing costumes. But yeah, with this one, it was just, there were so many sets that we recycled from the previous 2 episodes that we could just reuse, which was really good. So when Aaron said we started in we started in December to make these films for February, March, we had the backbone essentially of all the sets already. We just had to paint over everything, redress it, just to make it fit in this episode of Resistance. But yeah, I whatever you saw was all our work. Weekends had gone to waste making these sets, but it had such a great outcome, so it was worth it in the long run when you think of it.
Did you keep the EVA suit, which was really cool? No, you weren't able to keep it, right, for space issues?
Oh, we weren't, unfortunately. We kept the jumpsuit part, but not the chest plate or the helmet, which we threw that away at the end of the film. We said goodbye to it at the tip, so it's all gone.
That was really good stuff. Now, years ago, growing up, I used to build things out of cardboard in my backyard, but it was a little more Star Wars. But I built my own TIE fighters, snow speeders, and I built them out of cardboard. So I love some of this aspect. What did you? Hopefully, I'm not asking you to reveal any secrets, but for the EVA suit, what did you make it out of? I was curious, or I am curious.
So we made it out of PVC foam, EVC foam, EVA foam, something. Just that thick sort of like camping mats that you put in the tent when you go camping. So it was those that we molded for like the chest, and then a yoga mat, surprisingly.
Wow. Okay. Fair enough. That is really good stuff. Michael, why don't you go ahead and jump in? And if it's all right with Aaron, I'm going to queue up a scene or 2. We're going to do it off YouTube, if that's all right. So we're going to give you another viewing. It'll be 3. Will that be all right? Okay, fair enough. Michael, go ahead, please, because I'm being the dictator that I am. I'm always dominating.
Which is great. Then it makes my job much easier, which I very much enjoy. Fraser, So Aaron called you. You said, "I'm going to play a what?"
A Borg.
Yeah. And that's kind of what you said. Like, what is that? And then he told you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It was a very it was a crash course for me. He kind of gave me a quick little explanation of everything in terms of like what they're about and how I should go about like doing it and everything. And yeah, it was just kind of from there is like figure out the backstory of the captain's son and everything, and because he's obviously meant to be symbolic to her, and so it's kind of meant to be like a traumatic thing for her. So it was fun just kind of playing with that as well and seeing like this husk of a loved one being like possessed by and like a robotic kind of a shell of the person he once was. So it's kind of portraying that was a bit of an interesting experience, but luckily I had Aaron there to help me out and he guided me along the way. But yeah,
did Aaron give you free reign on how to create the character, or had he already set up the parameters before you took the role?
Well, I think he kind of wanted to be true to portrayal of the Borg in the like in First Contact and the other, well, what Star Trek's already kind of perceived them as. So he's kind of like, for the backstory of the sun and everything, in that part you can kind of do your thing, but actually, you know, the Borg are kind of a certain way, and I think it's better. I found it better because you kind of have a framework to build off of, compared to kind of, you know, making your own choices, especially when you're not really familiar with the source materials as compared to Aaron. So he definitely had more of a kind of understanding of how to kind of get it across and everything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron, may I go to the opening scene right after the title credits where
Sure.
we have Fraser? Yes. And tell me when you cut it off, but I want to talk about that scene. Aaron and all of you, this is the creativity of you guys. The concept that you establish in this first scene right after the title of where the captain is. That was really good stuff. That's a wonderful. Well, okay, let me go ahead and just go to it right now. I want to give a shout out to Eric McNeil. Thank you, Eric, for tuning in and giving us a like on the episode. So we're going to get to it right now. And if you gentlemen, since you're all sitting behind computers, if you all want to find a timestamp on your YouTube episode, let me know and we can jump to it. So I know I'm revealing all of our secrets, right? So here we go. This is the scene I'm talking about. And of course, we want to give a shout out to Gene Roddenberry. And we're able to, you know, be in this playground. So let me know if you can hear it. But here's the scene. I believe, Fraser, you were referencing tangentially to.
Who are you? What have you done to my ship?
We are Borg.
No, you're not Borg. You're my son. Oh my goodness, what have they done to you?
This drone is not your son. We are Borg. You two will become one with the Borg.
Remember now. Probe. The Borg were the ones who attacked the planet.
Correct. The collective determined that technological distinctness of species 103 was to be added to our own.
But you underestimated their resilience.
Resilience is irrelevant.
No, resilience is a wonderful quality. It's what people like my son used to fight the Borg at Wolf 359. And it's what species 103 used to defeat you. Great cost to themselves.
They were foolish.
They were determined to keep their individuality. So am I.
Determination is irrelevant. You are already one with the Borg.
What?
This is your subconscious mind attempting to subvert the assimilation process. It will fail.
Then you're not my son.
Negative. This is the visualization you have chosen to speak for the Borg.
I don't remember my son this way.
This dialogue is irrelevant. We must reestablish our link with the collective. Species 103 must be assimilated.
Really good stuff right there. And that's what I was talking about, Aaron. It was really well done how you immediately established she's trying to ascertain what's going on. And then when Fraser gives her what is his designation anyway? I know. Was there a designation that you gave him?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, because I guess it was all up here, right, with the Borg.
Yeah.
They were screwing with her. Okay, I don't know if that has the same connotation. I'm sorry. She'll never be on with us now. I'm sorry. You know what I mean. Yeah.
So originally in the story, it was just supposed to be Kate playing against herself, and then once that script, I just felt like there had to be another layer to it, and there wasn't another layer to it. So that's why we introduced the character of the son, and that were related to Jesse's character. So it kind of connected them a bit in a different way. But yeah, and so yeah, we just thought it would be really interesting that the Borg, while they're being assimilated, we actually see that internalized process, and the fact that the traumatic experience, like Fraser was saying, she likens the Borg to her son, and they connected on a really messed up level. So yeah, that's where that came from.
It was really well. I got that part, and it was interesting that when she's internalizing it, which I guess it is, that's what she's going through. But when she realizes, she looks down, and there's like that moment of, okay, fine, okay, I know what's going on, but I'm not done here. It was really well done. As far as, I don't know if it was intentional. I'm sure it was, but it comes across very well. And that scene, when she puts her eyes down, I equated to, in The Best of Both Worlds, Part 2, where the tear was coming down Picard's side. Here, she still has a chance. Picard did not. And you gentlemen know what I'm referring to in The Best of Both Worlds, right?
I actually do. Wow.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I've actually seen that part, believe.
Okay, now, tiny bit of trivia, and I think Michael knows this as well, that back then, we were barely entering the 4th season. Well, it was the season premiere. Picard, Patrick Stewart, was very much unliked in fandom. And everyone wanted, when he was assimilated, the Star Trek world jumped for joy because they wanted the Kirk-type character. They wanted Kirk back. But Riker would be just fine. But when he was assimilated, that was a big deal. Everything turned in Part 2 when the tear was coming down his eye. That he was fighting and he couldn't do anything. And it was very emotional. It's interesting that it turned on one scene. And here, she's not there yet. Well, I guess kind of, but it's just well done, Aaron. And that's why I'm impressed with what all of you guys do. The subtleties of your storytelling, the message that you want to get across, the performances by everyone. I mean, wow. It is really good stuff. Aaron, you directed the episode. Were you the sole director, or did anyone else help you direct some of the stuff?
No, it was just me. I guess for this, my brief to the crew was that this is supposed to be First Contact, but if it was a Voyager episode, so we kind of tried to hit those beats. So the bit like with the start with, it seems like in Best of Both Worlds and I guess in First Contact, there's a lot to do with the eyes, and so that's why we decided to have that opening shot of Kate's eyes, so it would be like very vaguely like the start of First Contact and things like that. But subtle things like the background sound effect every time we have that sort of void scene in her head, that changes. And as Fraser's character gets weaker and weaker, the amount of like chorus voices in his voice drops. And it's like probably things that no one will notice, but as you progress through the story, those things change. Just little things that hopefully add to the story.
Fraser, no kidding, buddy. The techno babble that you had to get through, it was very well done. I loved your line. I think I would have laughed had I been on set where you said, this dialogue is irrelevant. Now, was that because of the conversation, or was that the dialogue that you had to read?
That definitely had 2 layers. That was well done. Fraser,
wow, you had a lot to get through on that, man.
Yeah, thank you. It's definitely because later in the day, and I think it was a hot room, so it was sort of like really sweaty. So you kind of had to go in, do a take, step out, and then they'd give you adjustments. And you're just get it done with. So it's kind of a bit of frustration seeping in at that stage, but you had to keep this stone-faced, emotionless kind of, robotic. So yeah, but it was I think it was definitely a second layer to it, but
oh yeah. Now technically I want to ask Aaron in the background as one of the producers. I want to go back to that scene. What does something like this take, and I'm talking about the flashes where you have multiple scenes involved, and I want to go back to it right now, and I believe you're able to hear it. That.
Who are you? What have you done to my ship?
That is a second or two, the flashing. How difficult is that?
In terms of the edit, not very difficult. That actually came about purely by accident. So what happened was when we were doing, when I was talking to Sam about the visual effects stuff, he was like, you should do some things on like the TNG ship, because he wanted to do some best of both world shots, which weren't part of the original script. And I was like, okay. And so I asked very nicely if the cast would come back for another couple of hours after we wrapped basically, and we designed and repainted this set to be this TNG set, and we had different costumes for them, and we basically filmed a lot of sort of B-roll things. And one of those was just Fraser turning around and saying "mum" to Kate, and then we had a reverse shot of Kate. And then in the edit, originally that was just going to be a flashback later on in the film, but in the edit I was like, let me see if I can match cut these earlier on. And so that's basically how that came about. It was purely just mucking around and then being like, oh, this actually works. And it kind of, I guess, helps the audience understand that this is connected to another event. So that was just something that, from an offhand comment from Sam and then doing those visual effects shot, we were like, we can kind of connect this back, and you probably, in future, won't revisit this era. So to do the TNG stuff would be kind of fun. I was just very happy that Kate, Fraser, and Jesse came back for that couple of hours to do that bit, because it added a lot.
Excellent stuff. And again, I don't know if Michael is ready to go, but I have another scene. I want to get to Jesse. Jesse, you were doing a little bit of a Patrick Stewart, Picard, in your major scene.
Okay.
Well, okay. I'll tell you. Okay, let's watch the scene, and Aaron can tell me. He's like, dude, don't play the episode. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. But I want to go over to the screen. One of your, I guess, greater moments in the episode, and I think you'll understand once we go through what else. That's a Borg right there.
Sir, are you all right?
I'm fine. Report.
The Borg are transmitting some kind of locator signal across subspace. It's being amplified by the main deflector dish.
Any sign of the captain?
Internal sensors are down. Primary systems have been rerouted and secondary systems are on emergency power. Pretty much having to push the escape pods out the launch doors.
Our top priority is to rescue the captain.
Rescue the captain? Sir, with all due respect, the captain is gone. We've lost the ship. We need to evacuate.
No, we don't. Look, you don't understand. I am the tactical officer aboard this ship. I am in command, and you will do it as I say. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Am I missing something here, sir? Oh, what the hell is that?
Okay, right there. Okay, really well done. There's, again, I'm sure Aaron had a lot to do with this. Both Aarons and all of you, but the moment where you say, I think it was after, you don't understand. Okay, we're going to find out about that, why your relationship, or was it already established at this point that you were on the Melbourne? Oh, that's a little bit later, right?
Later, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Fair enough. But right here, what I'm talking about, that you were doing some Picard, the ship is being inundated by the Borg. We all know what happens when the Borg are aboard. It's over. And there's a scene in First Contact, which you all saw, where Picard says, no, stand and fight. And they all look at him like, dude, we're going to die here. But they know who he is. They're Starfleet officers, and they're going to do it. Now, there are many shades of gray here. Actually, maybe not even gray, but a lot of color in these performances. But your opposite, and I apologize, I don't remember her name right now. She accepts your orders after you snap and you say, no, 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 no. It's not over. You don't understand. We have to get her. Why don't you share some of your thoughts on that, Jesse, please, and then have the producers jump in as well. And by the way, really good stuff. Was it your intent to make it look like he'd been assimilated, Aaron, by the way he was walking in?
No.
But
he was just supposed to be like almost in a he was just supposed to be like a catatonic state, I suppose, because he'd just been traumatized.
Okay, it does come across that way, but at first it's like, oh man, has he been assimilated? But anyway, Jesse, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Rachel was playing ops opposite me there. I mean, my thinking for the scene was very much going straight back to Wolf 359, the incident where essentially he's lost his best friend. And to me, Sam, the whole time since that event has been stuck in that place emotionally, I guess, and hasn't been able to kind of mature past it or deal with the trauma. And there's the first time I watched it, actually, I kind of laughed at that scene because it kind of looks like, to me, it's very much almost like he's pretending he's in charge. He is, but I watch it and I'm like, dude, like emotionally, he's just not there. I don't think he's just so fixated on finding the captain, almost not out of wanting to protect her, but fear of the same thing happening again. He doesn't want to go back to that trauma that he's dealt with her son. That's kind of where I was approaching it from. It wasn't so much a we have to find her and save her, like a heroic moment. It was just brutal fear. He was just scared. It very much reminded me kind of like almost he reverted to like a kind of almost childlike state for a moment. He just snapped. He's like, no, like really making sure that this doesn't happen again, and that's kind of his motivation. Probably not from the heroic standpoint, but yeah, that's how I approached it for the most part. And I think there's some dialogue a bit later on when I'm in the maintenance tunnels, where we're having some dialogue back and forward where I kind of speak about it a little bit. And the whole premise of Sam to me is he just has all this baggage, and he hasn't dealt with it until we kind of get to the conclusion where, to me, it felt like he could start moving on.
Jesse, wow. I appreciate that. And,
that's all right.
No, it's we're talking about the story here. This is good stuff.
Yeah.
And Aaron, I apologize. In the analysis right now, I wasn't thinking about that. He's already been through this.
Yeah.
He was at Wolf 359. He was on the Melbourne. It's like, oh, I understand the catatonic state. Yes. I mean, I knew he was, but dude, it's like, oh my God, again? I guess.
Pretty much.
Yes. Oh, that's well done. And just because I missed it doesn't mean your audience missed it. Really
no,
good
it's
stuff.
good hearing the your viewpoint on it though. Seeing where, I guess, as an audience member, how it kind of came across to you. Yeah, it's good to hear.
I, again, and not to be pedantic here, the scene that this reminds me of is in First Contact, just before Lily rings up Picard. Remember in First Contact, where he's not necessarily psychotic, but there's a bit of fear in him when he's telling everyone, we have to stand and fight. It's like, come on, people, we're not going to lose the Enterprise. So I saw a bit of that, Jesse, in this scene as to First Contact. There's not similarities, but it kind of like rhymes, and it was really good stuff. And like I said, I missed a catatonic spot as to you were there already before.
Yeah,
but Aaron,
I think it.
Oh no, Jesse, go ahead.
No, you're right. Just gonna say, I think it like later on when the maintenance tunnel dialogue, I think it becomes maybe it kind of rings back to that earlier scene where I am coming through the corridor catatonic, and you're like, oh, he's scared.
Oh, I hear you, Aaron. Both Aarons, jump in on that. We're talking about that scene, and then let me know where you want to go to next.
I guess in terms of Jesse's character actually yelling at Rachel, I guess that he's supposed to be my idea was that he's actually yelling at the captain. He has this scene at the start where he's saying, you know, I think we should not go in this cave, or we should take security precautions, and she's 5 steps ahead of him, and he keeps trailing after her, and he gets really frustrated at her, and then he grabs her, and she's like, what are you doing? And their whole relationship is that she's trying to help him, and he just feels like she's sort of always wrapping him in cotton wool. And so the bit where Jesse yells at Rachel is really saying, shut up and listen to me, to the captain, because she's sort of dismissing him all the time. So yeah, I definitely tried to layer it. I guess maybe it wasn't apparent in some things, but yeah, the good thing about having a short film is that all the character backstory, you can only give your actors what you write in the script. The rest of it, they have to make up themselves. And it's the same with what Fraser was saying before. Some of that is not relevant to the story part, but it's relevant to how someone plays a character. So yeah, that kind of, it's great to work with actors where they've kind of worked out their own backstory in mind. So that always seems to work out. But yeah, I guess the Picard scene where he breaks the glass window and his little ships and stuff is kind of similar thing. Jesse's character is on this sort of warpath that he's gonna rescue the captain, and he's very narrow-minded, one track, but that's what he's gonna do. And he, in the end of the story, it's that he actually has to shoot her in order to save her, really.
Wow. Yeah, you see, Jesse, I was telling you, there was some Picard in you there, young man.
Generating it.
Yes, definitely. I'm going to jump to that scene real quick, which you were talking about in the Jeffries tubes.
Forward.
Yes, yeah. Wanted to see me have the chance to do my job.
I hope so. And when you come face to face with the Borg, with her again, that you remember that.
Me too.
Decompression cycle complete.
See you on the other side.
Okay, well done. What do you mean, see you on the other side? Was that her literally saying, hey, I'm going to be on the underside of the ship, or was this a bit heavier than that, saying, I'll see you on the other side?
I think it was a bit heavier than that. Yeah, it was like, she might die and not make it. They might not be able to open the warp core hatch. He might not save the captain. It's high stakes.
It's really good stuff. Here's a scene. I was alluding to this earlier. There's the uniform. Really good stuff. Oh, and by the way, what's the painting in the background? That's Egyptian based, is it not?
Yeah. So the captain's character, she's like, one of her interest areas is archaeology. So we decked out her set, her quarters with old books and different artifacts and things like that. And so that's why she's so interested in the caves and uncovering technology and stuff at the start, because she has a sort of love for archaeology.
Yeah, and having a book on her desk was really cool, by the way. But that's it, the EVA suit, man. Really good stuff, guys. But did I miss the other port? Was there another portion, Jesse?
Oh yeah. So a little bit earlier. Yeah. Just before there's like a flashback scene.
Oh yeah, there is. Right? Is that about? Are you guys able to see that down at the bottom? Is that about where it begins, or is it even before that? Actually, let me just go full screen. Is it about right here where it starts? And by the way, great job on the uniforms, man. Oh, here it is. Okay, here we go.
Like you said, We don't have a choice. That's the core and the planet taken care of. We'll still need shields to bear the brunt of the explosion.
And it's a good thing the ship has 2 deflector dishes. You need to talk me through what you can do as we go.
Let's do that!
Okay, now tell me the bad news about the shields.
The emergency power grid is fried. You'll need to physically cut the lines and then reconnect the secondary deflector to emergency power.
Understood.
Once you've done that, you'll need to head to deflector control to establish the field.
Thought you might say that.
There'll probably be an electrostatic buildup in the control system. Watch out for it.
Got it.
So you knew the captain before you joined the group, right?
Something like that. You know the captain has a son? Had a son?
Yes. He was killed at Wolf 359.
We're in training together. Aboard the USS Melbourne. It's lost with all hands. All but 6 of us.
I'm sorry. That must have been a horrific experience.
Passing psychiatric evaluation to get back into active service was next to impossible. No one was willing to take a chance on me. No one except the captain.
Dr. Crusher, please report to the transporter room.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, so that was, I guess that kind of fleshed out Jesse's backstory a little bit more.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, there's probably a little bit more I could have gone over right now. But again, wonderful touch on the uniforms. But getting back to that scene 7 years ago, we're back at Wolf 359. This is some of the most expansive special effects or visual effects that you guys have done, right?
Yep. Yeah, and it was just Sam being like, I would like to do this. And I was like, okay. But yeah, it definitely helped flesh out that, backstory and hopefully give the audience a bit more context. I'm sure it gave, the actors a bit more context with regards to their characters, but yeah.
By the way, the uniforms look great. When you went back to TNG uniforms, they really did look good. It was really good stuff.
That's good because they were slightly too small. And Fraser in particular is quite a tall person, and yeah, and so there was a bit of ankle showing. That's how.
Oh, more than.
But luckily, we didn't see that. Yeah. You can't hide in a piece of lycra. So.
Because we had that picture of the 3 of us, for the captain, Jesse, and myself, and I think it's got to like my forearm, and it's just.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that. Yeah.
No, we didn't either.
I did not notice that, but yeah.
We can forget about it. No one needs to know.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Fraser. Go ahead, please.
No, you're all good. That was the story basically. No one needs to know. Because they were really.
It's too late. It's all out there now.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. But you don't catch it. You don't see it unless you reveal it. I don't think it's going to be a moment that everyone's going to comment and say, "Hey."
And ultimately, it was just for the picture that Rachel picks up on the desk. That was the reason why we got the costume. So on day 2, when these guys took that picture, that was really all we needed for them. It was only when we did that sort of 7th day and we did these scenes. And because I was standing still in the picture, it was okay. But once you started moving and like Jesse and Fraser were running up and down corridors multiple times for something that we used once. I think Jesse even split his in the back, I think, if I remember correctly, or on the leg or something.
Yeah, I think it might have been a bit higher than the leg.
The lower back, I think,
wasn't great. Yeah.
But it was where the zip. But it's just because I bought these in a hurry. We organized these in a hurry, and they were just slightly too. They were quite small. They were smalls, basically, for people that probably had the height for a large. But yes, I have a great picture of actually my mum sewing Jesse back into his costume like Olivia and John in Grease.
Yeah.
That is so cool. That would be neat. Maybe if you're able to find it right now or on another day. But by the way, folks, This is hardcore stuff. As you know, in the movie First Contact, the Millennium Falcon can be seen in the battle. I don't know if you're able to see it. And Aaron, did you catch this? That's the USS Enterprise from Kirk's day.
I think actually Sam said that he put the Millennium Falcon in this.
Oh, did he?
Scene.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, I'm going to have to look for it. But folks, for everyone watching, of course, this is similar to the Farragut. I forget the class name. This is an ambassador class. This is also an ambassador class. I forget what this one is called. But here's another Excelsior. And there's an Oberth, which is the science vessel from Star Trek 3. But, dude, this is 100 years earlier. I guess that's how bad Starfleet has it when they got to recall all ships. It was
a desperate situation, so they just had to pull whatever they got. People were probably doing a museum tour on that, and they were like, "Nope, you coming with us."
That's pretty good. Oh man, that's funny. I like that stuff. Really good. Now, gentlemen, as it is, since I'm always dominating and talking, I lose track of time. I don't know how much time we have you for, so we're already an hour into this. That's not a hint, because as Aaron knows, that's not a hint. It's just I need to be sensitive to everyone, right, Michael? I have to be sensitive. So I'm just letting you know that I am trying to be sensitive on that, trying to acknowledge that this is a Friday night for you, for all of you. You're spending Friday night with us, man.
There's no place to rather spend it, you know?
All right. That was well done. I'll take that. But really wonderful stuff that you guys did. And you worked with Sam. I know we mentioned Sam. We had him on a program with us as well. He's a little bit of a techno wunderkind as well, isn't he, when it comes to all these visual effects?
Yeah, he definitely knows his stuff, and he definitely knows how to make things look like they should, which is good. Like I said, our goal in each series that we've done is to try and replicate the style of each era. So, you know, having Voyager effects that look like Voyager is great, especially the space walk sequence. That was really great that could look like it was going to in the 90s. But yeah, Sam knows his stuff, and he's very pedantic about, for example, putting the Millennium Falcon in that sequence, because
I'm gonna have to find it.
I'm pretty sure that's right. I seem to recall him saying that. But I mean, like, I can give Sam a line of dialogue or stage direction, and he just does the shot, and it just almost always looks like how I imagined it. So that's
actually, I just noticed there's 2 heavy cruiser or Enterprise from Kirk's time, well, from the movie era in there, which is kind of amusing, but it's really good stuff. So, gentlemen, look, I've been asking the questions. What do you want to share on what happened? Maybe even behind the scenes stuff. Tell us some of the stories. Go for it. Fraser, Jesse, and Aaron as well. Because actually, I want to give a shout out. All of the production values on this are impressive. Everything that you guys do, and I understand you're doing it in a garage, right?
So I think that's a good segue to the topic. Here we go. So we were filming in January, February, I think early March, which is the height of summer in Western Australia. And I don't think I've ever encountered heat as hot as when we were filming, and specifically what Fraser was talking about earlier. The second day that we were filming, we had to film at night because I think the availability meant that we was filming from like lunchtime till 9 o'clock at night, and we were overrunning, and we were doing Fraser's bit where he's in the prosthetics. And I don't know if you want to talk about it, Fraser, how hot it was and how your face was melting.
Yeah, no, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, it was. I remember. So it started off kind of okay, and then I think, like I said, as it got hotter, and then I think you just get a bit more tense and frustrated, and this added to it all of it, because I think it was 40 minutes to an hour in makeup, so you have to kind of get the prosthetic on, the makeup and everything, and it just started sweating off, and then this gash thing just kept coming off So I think it would be another. We would do a take, and I think I just the urge not to touch my face was so hard, and then I think it'd be 10 minutes putting it back on and then going again. So it kind of slowed everything down. So I think it turned like a. I think the show was meant to. I can't remember. We were meant to wrap the shot a bit earlier, but it just kept going over and over and over, and it was a pain. It was a pain, but that's showbiz. You got to go through with it. Yeah.
And it's funny because the scene at the start where Rachel's on the bridge and she's talking to Jesse and Kate on the planet, that was originally supposed to be a green screen shot that we were going to film on our green screen day. But we had some set pieces that we were like, before we destroy these, we might as well get Rachel's stuff out of the way on this set instead. And we did that. And for some reason, it just took ages to light. And we ran over when Fraser arrived from another gig I think he was doing. Once we put him in makeup, it was time to have dinner. So we had dinner. And then Fraser had all this makeup on. We started doing his scenes. The makeup person had to go because she had kids and it was 9 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night. And it was still 42 degrees Celsius in our space. And that late at night, it was insane. So global warming is a thing. Can definitely say that. And so a lot of those shots we ended up doing in one. Those last couple of shots with Fraser and Kate in the void as oneers because we just were running out of time. That's sometimes happens that way, that you're just running out of time and you need to make it work and you need to get it done, and people are giving up their time and you just have to make the most of it. So especially the last shot, which I was actually really proud of, that was one take and we had lights switching off and it went from Kate to Fraser, back to Kate, and then blacked out. And I think that turned out really well.
I think going off that as well, it's the hard thing as an actor is you kind of so each shot you kind of break up the scene. So say either your coverage in like a medium close up and then a close up. So they'll kind of do maybe a third of the script and then another third of the script. So I think doing the whole thing in one take, you kind of have to be perfect. Because if something goes off your coverage, you have to restart the whole scene again. So I think having that change was, it was a bit of a challenge because you kind of go from, I'll do this bit of technical jargon first, and then kind of when they set out for the next show, I'll kind of get, prepared for the next part. You kind of have to be ready to go from the start. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So I think having the ability to adapt to that as well was really challenging. But that's what you got to do when you're losing time on a film set. You just have to make compromises and just go with it.
Sometimes
we had to do Fraser's stuff first pretty much, and I think the last thing that we shot was just Kate's coverage of nearly all of her scenes because we knew that we didn't need Fraser in makeup. We knew that his face was melting off. So we tried to get everything with Fraser done first, and then the solos with Kate as quickly as possible by the end of the day. So you kind of have to adapt.
Wow. Really, really good stuff. I had a scene which was near the end, and Hollywood has the habit of spritzing or spraying their actors to show that they're sweating and perspiring, right? There was no spritzing here then, right? Because it was so hot. Yeah. Sorry,
that's
Fraser,
all natural. All natural.
I wasn't joking. His face is melting.
Wow. Yeah. I can see. Talk about taking one for the team, man.
I think that was one of the top 5 most satisfying showers I had that night. Definitely deserved.
And no warm water, right? It was just all cold water.
No. Drain the Antarctic Sea,
Oh, that's funny. Hey, Fraser, since you're in makeup and okay, I guess we're gonna go there for that shower. How long did it take to get all this stuff off before?
What you mean is in once we wrapped kind of thing?
There's extensive makeup.
Yeah.
I mean, did you just pull it off?
Well, I think you have to kind of, the start is they do like a remover thing for the edges.
Yeah.
So that kind of, you have to slowly get a bit of leverage in that sense. and then I think after I just kind of yanked it off. I can't exactly remember, but that's usually what I do for the makeup kind of stuff. So I think, but I think with the sweat, it was kind of easier anyway, because at the middle it kind of lost a lot of the sticking anyway. So
I'm pretty sure we saved those things. So we should. I'll get Fraser to sign it, and we'll frame it, and then we'll sell it. We'll sell it when he's famous.
I don't know who's gonna want to buy that. But...
You would be surprised. Oh.
Oh god.
That was in unison, folks. This is maybe a better shot of seeing a lot of the makeup that you have on. And by the way, the makeup for both Fraser as well as for Kate, well done, man. Really good stuff. It's for being rookies, or I don't want to say that because it's a but I think you know what I'm trying to say. Compared to Hollywood, wow, this is really good stuff. I was trying to find the scene where it has Kate's stuff, but I haven't been able to find it yet. But how long did it take Fraser and Aaron, if you would, to get into uniform and makeup?
It was a while. I think it was like, was it 30-40 minutes, Aaron? Because we had to let it stick first.
I think it was at least a good half an hour.
Yeah.
The makeup artist, she painted as much as she could beforehand before it went on, so she airbrushed lots of it. But it was a good half an hour to put the prosthetic on, and then she had to blend it in the skin so it didn't look as harsh and as artificial.
And there was also like a paler tint, because I had to be, Evan, I was, a corpse for like so kind of that as well took a while. So yeah, it was very fun sitting around for, a long period of time, not moving.
I think you had to wait a while because we were still doing the part with Rachel, that you were just sitting around for a while, just not moving. Like we had dinner and you just sat there not eating because you were scared.
I remember that. Watching them all eat that, I was hot, miserable, and hungry. Watching them, I was like pasta or something, just like God.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Fraser, excellent J.J. Abrams lens flare. Good stuff.
It's a complete accident. I'll thank you to
accident. Yeah, right. That was good production values. So that takes us into the Abrams verse. But I found one of the scenes. There it is. Wow. I wish I could zoom in on it, but I don't have that technical skill. But you see the stuff that she has in her face. Wow, guys. And this goes to all of you, the entire production. This is impressive. Michael, what were some of your thoughts when you saw Kate as a Borg? I was impressed.
I was very impressed. I thought about all the other Borg encounters, and I just went, oh, this is interesting. And this is a very primitive Borg versus what we had been used to seeing. And Aaron, I think you really pulled it off. I mean, it was more primitive. I mean, especially species 103. It's like, ooh, that's way back in their encounters.
Yeah, because we knew that we weren't going to be able to pull off the sort of first contact style Borg drone at all, like costume and makeup wise, prosthetic wise. So the way to tell the story was to do, I guess, a prototype of the Borg, and that kind of works with giving Fraser's Borg character a bit more of a sort of erraticness, because they're not quite the Borg that we know and love.
Or hate.
And that's also why the assimilation thing is more gruesome, I suppose. It's more a little bit gory in that it didn't quite work properly.
Right there, Aaron. It looks like it's carved in, and there's a gap there. That is cool. I'm sorry. That's impressive.
But that was down to sort of Melissa, who was the makeup person. We just sort of gave her a brief of this is what we want it to look like, and she delivered it. So.
Okay. I know I'm, we have to give her a shout out. The background, again, This is cool. But how'd you put this together? The Borg alcove or the Borg wall, I suppose.
Yeah. So that's obviously the design is based on the best of both worlds, or the next generation era Borg, I guess, to show that it's a bit more primitive. And then the rest of it is really just raiding a box of garbage essentially, and making a sort of wall behind it to give it sort of a bit 3D effect. We looked at what they used in Voyager, which is kind of like vac-formed shapes that are like multiplied across a wall. We obviously didn't have the capability to do that, so we just had to use what we had to make different shapes and things like that. Those sort of red things that are on either side are like toners for a printer, which I nicked from work.
Yes. Oh my God!
They're apparently quite expensive, and you can like get them refilled. I wasn't aware of that when I took them to work. So
I've actually used those at my place of employment.
Yeah. So,
wow, that is good. I didn't realize that. I know that head. Yes, guys. Every time I replaced a toner at work, I always thought I was in engineering, replacing a coil.
Yeah. And the graphic behind Kate's head, obviously in the show, it's a plasma disc.
Lower your weapon.
We couldn't find one of those in that color and in that size, so the best thing we had was to get a monitor screen and play the graphic behind it.
That was good stuff. I know you can barely see it right now in this scene. Oh, hey, Jesse.
Hey.
But yeah, there it is in the background.
Release deflector.
I actually thought that you guys got the circle one, the one that's available. So you guys did that on a simple monitor?
Yeah. We tried to find it, but it's just they don't make them. I remember being a kid and going into one of those gifty type stores, and they'd have these plasma discs all the time, everywhere. But we've moved past the 90s now. So
well, it's funny you would say that. Michael Day, were they at the Aerospace Museum? They were, weren't they? Or aren't they? Yes.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to visit with Michael Day in December of this past year. I went out to Washington, D.C., and he actually took me to a lot of places. But we went to one of the newer aerospace museums. And Aaron, lo and behold, in the gift shop, they had that one. That's funny. So it's 1990s retro at a National Aeronautics Space Museum in the United States.
That makes sense. I can believe that.
Yeah, that's about how far advanced our space program is right now. That's the
and remember they also had the spaceship from Close Encounters of the Third Kind there too. So,
as a matter of fact, yes, they did. I know I took a picture of that. I'll see if I can find it. The actual filming model, folks, is at the Aerospace Museum, just like the Enterprise is, which is really kind of. Oh, but that's two different locations. How far apart are they, Michael?
Yeah.
How far
apart? The TIE Fighter is at the older building, too. So,
which I don't recall seeing the TIE Fighter, but they at the United States Aerospace Museum at the Smithsonian, they have, as soon as you walk into the museum, the Enterprise from the original series is there in all of her glory, which is really impressive. And you have to look up, but from Star Wars, The Force Awakens, Poe's X-Wing, the actual mock-up is in the museum, which is really kind of neat. And you have to look up and you see the X-Wing. So it's kind of cool. But sorry, I'm crossing universes right there. I don't mean to do that. But fair enough. Hey, Jesse, how long did it take you to get into makeup?
About 3 minutes.
That's right.
I definitely had it the easiest. It was very much just kind of like a base layer. And then I'd sit there for 40 minutes and watch Fraser hate life. So that was good. But thankfully my face didn't start falling off at all. But I think for most of the shooting days, it was. I think it's about 105 degrees for using that system. So it wasn't great. But yeah, it was. There was an extra direction given from Aaron. after every cut. It was all right, cut, fans on. Just try and get some airflow.
that's
We
right.
just
Mhm.
start trying to get some airflow down the shirt or something. Yeah, it was intense, but it was good. It was good. It ended up really well, and I very much enjoyed that the opening scene with Fraser and Kate. I very much enjoyed because I hadn't been there on set with them, watching them do it in the background. So it was good to see all the things I didn't see on the day.
Wow, no doubt. Aaron, since I haven't asked for permission, may I play the teaser or the prior to the titles, that scene right there?
Sure.
Okay. It's like, yeah, I finally asked for permission, right? Let me see if I can get that one in. There it is. This is the one you're talking about.
Captain's log, stardate 50425.1. While conducting a survey of a pre-warp civilization, the explorer has detected an unusual energy reading coming from an isolated continent. I am leading an away team down to the surface to investigate.
Captain?
Look at this. These carvings must predate the Federation itself. Ensign, grab a detailed scan of this wall and relay it back to the explorer.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's see if we can get some answers here. What do you make of this?
Looks like a pretty clear do not disturb sign. Perhaps we should listen to it.
According to the tricorder, these remains are over 2,000 years old.
Captain, before we go any further, I'd like to secure the area. There may be some sort of primitive traps.
No sign of physical trauma. Perhaps they were left to guard something. Something like that.
Captain!
Uh-oh.
Sorry. It's just that I'm trying to earn the respect of the crew here. And it's not very
Boundaries!
So got me the job is dismissing my recommendations in front of me.
You have as much a right as anyone to be a part of this crew. You don't have to prove yourself to them. Just focus on doing the best job you can.
Then please let me do my job. It's definitely the source of the energy readings, but its construction. These materials don't exist on this planet.
Explorer to away team.
Go ahead.
The results are in, Captain.
And?
From what I can make out, these hieroglyphs are a warning against technology.
Against technology?
It seems whatever that object is fell to the planet about 3 years before the carvings were made.
Part of the population fell under a strange influence.
And the whole city was thrown into chaos. Those that remained ordered all technology to be destroyed
To keep the planet safe.
and the object was buried in the ruins to serve as a reminder.
All that innovation and advancement. Erased, just like that.
Destroying old technology seems like a pretty desperate measure. Makes you wonder how desperate the situation really was.
It's clear this device doesn't belong here. Ensure it's secure and make arrangements for it to be safely transported back to the Explorer.
Yes, Captain. Captain?
It's interfacing with the tricorder.
Can't shut it down.
Away team, I don't know how, but the device is accessing the main computer. Captain, it's bored.
Lock them out.
Captain!
Wow. What a teaser. Well done, man.
My favorite thing is the last shot of Jesse because we were just like, when we're filming it, obviously there's no music and nothing dramatic happening, and we're just like, just look shocked.
Yeah. I think about half a second past that cut was me just bursting into laughter. I was like, what are you doing?
I actually cut together recently a bloopers, a reel for this film. I haven't released it yet because I'm going to be light on content this year, so I thought I'd save it. But yeah, hopefully going to do it for the other 2 films. But yeah, so there's a lot of fun moments.
Is it longer than the actual film?
No.
Of just me trying to say a stupid line.
No, it's very kind, I would say.
That is cool. We definitely look forward to it. There's a lot of stuff going on, but again, all of the production values, the performers, everyone, the writing, in that opening scene, you get a lot of stuff established. And for those that are really, really paying attention or can catch it, it's Rachel, correct? She's in yellow.
Yes.
She's in operations. When you're looking at her screen, you only see part of it, but you see the Borg thing right before she says, "Uh-oh, they're accessing the computer." That is excellent. That is the first hint something big is going on. And then when the Borg assimilation nodules, I guess what they call them, that's some good stuff there, guys. It really looks good. And Jesse, dude, wow. When you got a hold of the captain right there, I was like, dude, boundaries. That's your command officer, man. The look she gave you. Like,
yeah, I definitely had a bit of a giggle watching that for the first time. I was like secondhand embarrassment watching myself. What are you doing, man?
Oh man, it looks great. It was just well done. It's funny.
Wait, it worked really well. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, it's like I would have said, "Your place, young man." I would have said it straight out, but no, it was really well done. It's really good stuff what you guys are doing. I am a major fan. I do want to give a shout out because there are many productions going on right now, but as far as storylines and everything that you guys are doing, it's just impressive and it's a treat. Aaron, I wish you had more money. You know,
I mean, isn't that? Yeah, I wish I had more money too. I keep asking them, but they don't increase the pay. So it's
well, you need to talk to someone about like the executive producer about that. You know.
But yeah, no, it would be great.
I wish I would have closed in on that one when Aaron looked away. That was good stuff.
It would be great to be able to do more. But yeah, it's just that thing of if we had a proper space to do it, and we, you know, it has got to the point, unfortunately, that, you know, we rely on the goodwill of people to give up their time and their talents and their thing, and you know that really doesn't pay a day off to come film. So yeah, definitely moving forward, we need to pay people for their time and stuff like that. So yeah, that's just life, unfortunately. So yeah, but yeah, we'd love to continue. Hopefully, you know, in a year or so, maybe we'll come back to a different era and do some more things. But for this year, yeah, we're moving on to other things.
So we're done with Voyager. That's it.
Yes, we're done with Voyager. Okay. We've actually already shot a secret project for the start of the year for something completely different. So we're already ahead on it. Yeah, we're already back into it.
Wow. All right.
So that will be exciting. Hopefully, we're coming out in March or April. So yeah.
Oh, excellent. Now, gentlemen, for being down there in Australia, I know it's because we're up here in the United States. Everyone else is below us. But sorry, I didn't mean to say that. For being down there in Australia, what are some of the COVID restrictions? Are you guys still having to do any of that? Because here in California, for instance, in Los Angeles County, we masks are recommended. Now, in hospitals, you have to have a mask, even as a visitor. It doesn't matter. And in some places, you have to get tested every 2 hours if you want to visit. But that's just in the medical field. Masks are a choice right now. And this isn't meant to be political. This is just meant to get an idea of how is your COVID situation down there in Australia right now? Are there any restrictions? Is everything back to normal?
It's pretty much back to normal. I think they've just dropped having to wear a mask and stuff in hospitals, or maybe you still have to wear one, but they're certainly not testing people like they did before, and you can have visitors and everything. But yeah, I guess here, especially around Christmas, the sort of medical field was advising that people wore masks and things like that, but it's kind of the general consensus is that it seems to have gone back to normal. When we were filming Resistance, that was the height of COVID for us. The reason why we had to do it so quickly is because they were gonna open the borders, so we had to close borders for almost 2 years, and no one could come into the state unless you had special permission or whatever. So yeah, the push to get this film done was that in February, I think 15th, they were going to open the borders. We needed to get the film done. We couldn't because of just availability of cast and crew. They pushed the dates back, and we sort of were okay. We still wore masks and things like that and tried to keep our distance. It was a reason why there's so limited characters in the story. I wrote it specifically so that there were only 4 main characters, so we reduced the number of people on set. Yeah, it's kind of funny to think that, a year ago, life was a little bit different.
Aaron, just to understand, you mentioned state, as in state borders, not national borders. You mean your state borders were closed?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Michael, we didn't have that, did we?
No.
Wow. I'm not going to say that's hardcore, but wow, that's wow. Huh.
Yeah, our premiere moved pretty quick on it, and yeah, it was pretty much like even over the East Coast, people trying to, if they had left WA and were say in Melbourne for a week or two, and then they were trying to come back, it was pretty strict exemptions. Trying to get back, it's like you basically had to be a resident here. If it was part of your job, it was kind of like, well, sorry. So yeah, it was a trying time, obviously, as it was for a lot of people for a bit there. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, all the restrictions and stuff are completely back to normal. The only time you'll see occasionally, just I guess from what I've seen around, is maybe like someone that's quite elderly that's not feeling well might wear a mask, but that's about it. That's all I've really seen.
Jesse, knowing that the restrictions are almost gone and stuff, would you be willing to do another Borg character? Or hell, would you be willing to be in another episode? If so,
absolutely. Why not?
Okay, Fraser, would you?
100%, yeah.
Let's go, Aaron. More 40-degree days in the garage.
Well, that's right. You guys are in the middle of summer right now. So what's the weather like over there? Because over here it is still at 6:28 a.m. It is 48 degrees. Well, where I'm at, it's cold. Michael, how is it with you? What is it like?
I don't even want to know.
It's cold, isn't it?
Well, it was raining when I woke up, so.
Well, you've got more rain headed your way, pal.
I know.
Yeah, but
no,
when I was visiting with Michael in early December, it was 24 degrees.
That sounds
That's Fahrenheit.
Yeah, sorry. That's Fahrenheit. I apologize.
It still sounds nice. I much prefer the cold, personally.
That's what, -8, -9.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's when it's a bit okay.
Down there, yeah.
Yeah.
Where we are at the moment, it's 23 Celsius.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's nice. Well, yeah, look, there's a difference. You guys are in the Hawaiian short sleeves, and I've got the
it's the short sleeve shirt. I've got
but the project we just filmed. The project we just filmed last week. We were really hoping that it would drop down in temperature, and we hit the 41 Celsius days.
Wow, that's warm.
And being in a garage with a roller door that's built out of metal, it just becomes a sauna, and it's about conducting 10 degrees hotter.
Now, I don't know if I want to, spoil something, but I'm assuming this special project has to do with the prop you were building a little while ago.
Yes.
That's what I thought. Okay, I'm not saying any more because you probably don't want to say anything. So I just wanted to confirm that.
I can't elaborate anymore because I know it's sort of like a co-production with somebody else. So I have to go by their
What they say, yes.
what they say. However, yeah, we were doing a Dalek, so we had a 3-day shoot. We've got one more day to do some model shots in a couple of weeks. But yeah, that was our project for the year.
Let's see, 41 degrees Celsius is 105.8 Fahrenheit. That's hot, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, is that the inside temperature in the garage, or was that what was outside?
Dude, I think
that was
probably,
outside, so it was probably
outside.
it was probably hotter in there. Yeah, spare a thought for the poor guy that was in the Dalek, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
if it's 105
Oh,
outside,
Fraser didn't do that, huh? Fraser didn't have to do that one.
No.
Thankfully not, no.
That's good.
No,
That'd be too much torture.
I'd be on the call to my agent first thing. If that happened.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he wouldn't be doing that one for free.
No.
So for this special project, if I may, what are we looking at? Maybe March, maybe April for a debut?
Yes, well, I've been told, yeah. March, April.
Wow.
Hopefully it kickstarts another, hopefully it isn't a one-off and people like it and we do more and I can employ Jesse and Fraser in that too. So, so we can buy a studio.
Maybe Mark McGowan will have this film studio built in the next 20 years when they get around to
yes.
it. One can hope.
We have an ever ongoing promise of building a film studio in WA that appears usually at election time.
And then it disappears.
Hopefully, and then it disappears. So hopefully that'll happen. And yeah, they're going to build it down the road from me, which is exciting. So I won't have to travel far.
That would be cool, no doubt. Now, folks, when it comes to the level of professionalism, which you guys are exhibiting both here and which you put on video, you guys never ask for assistance. And in the Star Trek community, it is not a strange thing to ask for donations. And I know you're not going to do it, so I'm going to do it on your behalf. If anyone wants to contribute to this endeavor, then there are many ways of doing it. I know some would actually take gift cards for set construction. I know they would accept those. And then there were whatever they be, Indiegogo campaigns or whatever. I know you guys don't do that. But look, folks, if you want to donate to the production, it helps. We're the beneficiaries. And when I say we, is the fans. We get to see what you guys do. And it costs money. You guys this is a labor of love. Okay. Fraser, why did you, Star Trek tangent. Why did you do this episode? And, I had to put the caveat in there of Star Trek. It's kind of like, what does it mean to you? Why did you do this? You weren't getting paid. You were sweating your neck off. Yeah, okay. Yeah. You were suffering through this. I mean, it's there's sacrifice on your part. Why this? And that's probably a jerk question, and I don't mean it to be, but
yeah, I think there's a few reasons. I think as an actor, especially in Perth, beggars can't be choosers. So you gotta take what you can get. Second of all, I worked with Aaron before, and when he asked me, I jumped straight away because I love working with him. I love to kind of go into that little world. And then, but I think the main was kind of since the last one, Star Trek, had piqued my interest a bit. So, like I said, I went back and watched the trilogy and kind of started getting into the world and stuff and everything. And it was just something I had really grown in my interests, and I just thought it'd be a really cool opportunity to do it again and kind of make more of a stamp in Aaron's world instead of just being a dead body, having a chance to kind of be an actual character with impact. Yeah. A few reasons like that, but yeah, it was just the intrigue and the excitement was probably the main.
That's good stuff. I appreciate it. Jesse, why?
I mean, I usually have a few things I like to line up before I say yes to a project. As Fraser was saying, Perth acting is it's never really pumping, if you know what I mean. But I've personally been pretty lucky over the last 2 to 3 years now. I've probably done one audition, I think, or two. Luckily, I've done a few projects with a few people now that I like Aaron messaged me and just asked if I was interested, and yeah, it kind of goes from there. And I asked, I want to know who's directing and what the script's like and the character, and if those three line up, then the next thing I do is like go and try and put annual leave in at work. And so yeah, you're not getting paid, but like at the end of the day, like I didn't really get into acting altogether for the pay. It was kind of a way to grow and be creatively expressive. And I guess the thing about film is there's so many ways to do that, from building sets and to working behind the camera and all that sort of stuff, which I do have an interest in. Will maybe pursue something like that one day, but yeah, just working with Aaron in the past, and also I worked with Kate, I think, on 3 or 4 projects now. Knowing that those two would be involved, and having been in briefly as I did have a name, Mahoney, I think it was, in Line of Duty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for my one line. And even just that was a hot day as well. I believe that was in summer. But I was like, this is great. I'd definitely come back. And then yeah, about a year and a half later, when Aaron your message, I was like, yes. I didn't take much convincing. So yeah, just mainly I suppose the professionalism, as you were saying, from Aaron, and just the faith that the product was going to be something that was worth putting time into. I was just like, yep, definitely.
I believe I've already asked Aaron this question, so I want to direct it to both of you, Fraser and Jesse, and to Aaron Chappell as well, because this is the first time he's been on with us. There's several parts to it, so I'll ask the first question. What got you into Star Trek? It could have been Aaron himself, but how did you discover Star Trek? Because I think Jesse said you had seen a few episodes here and there, but Fraser, what was your first point of reference? That'd be funny if it was First Contact. But you did say that for this episode. But no, seriously, what got you into Star Trek? How did you discover it?
I think the first thing, I remember I remember seeing a Shatner episode just on TV when I was like a lot younger, and it was like this kind of, yeah, it was in passing, but it was enough to kind of stick in my head. I think I kind of grew up more of a Star Wars kind of fan. I knew about Star Trek and everything, but it was more, I don't know. I like I said, I had this friend in junior and high school who was like a big Star Trek kind of fan, and kind of the exposure to that, because it seemed more like the fans seem more like passionate, and they seem like more kind of like they know the ins and outs of every ship, like you guys can name off every frigate, every ship in the fleet, and there's more of those kind of 1%er kind of things seem really interesting. And then I just think kind of from there it came more into mainstream appeal. I think I watched, like I said, I watched the trilogy. I watched Discovery on Netflix, and it just kind of seemed less intimidating to me, more like something I could just get my enjoy. So yeah, it just kind of it was a acquired taste, I guess, for me.
Oh, definitely, it is. I appreciate that. Jesse, how did you get into it?
I'd seen bits and pieces of it. Like I used to play on TV, and you might be flicking channels, kind of back when flicking channels was more prevalent. But everyone had heard the name Captain Kirk and Captain Picard, and I was like that's roughly where my knowledge kind of ended. But doing some of the research into, especially watching the Borg episode with Picard when you were talking about the teardrop thing. That definitely is something that I can see how it would have had the emotional impact you were talking about, even if at the time he wasn't really loved, and especially because when did that air?
It was in October. Well, here in the United States, it was the first week of October 1990. Not that I remember that specifically.
Oh yeah, uh-huh. Yeah.
But I think I might be one of the 1%ers if it comes to Star Trek.
Yes,
it
I
might have been
remember
October
it was
2nd.
1990.
Yeah, actually, it
Not
was
the
October
third?
of 1990. Oh, the 3rd? Was it really?
I don't know. I'm just
But
trying
go
to
ahead,
give you a hard
Jesse. I'm
time
sorry.
on it.
We're being driven out now.
That's all right. The emotional impact, I think, especially for back then, would have probably been heavier. I think a lot of people are a lot more maybe desensitized to film now. It can often take a lot more emotion and portrayal of character to get messages across. People become very cinematically literate, I suppose. But those type of episodes, if I'd had that tie with that nostalgia, would have been a whole lot heavier for me. But even just watching that episode, I could see I suppose the humanity. Like at the end of the day, like when I was kind of prepping for Sam, I was like, it's a human being. So what are the kind of emotional beats and the emotional backstory to bring into it, even if I don't know all the jargon and that sort of stuff. If I'm bringing that, then Aaron's the encyclopedia. So I was like, I'll rely on him for the specific knowledge, because as you were saying, Fraser, there's a lot of passionate fans about their shows, and I'm definitely one of them in some other areas. Probably more literate in Star Wars, as you were mentioning before. But yeah, I think it's something that could definitely would be a good idea to go and back and watch more. I think my first big exposure to it was it the 2009.
Yeah,
Christopher
that's J.J. Abrams.
Yeah. I don't really remember a whole lot about it, to be honest. I just remember being like, "Oh, cool, yeah nice." But yeah, that's pretty much where it rested with me.
Fair enough. I screwed up, folks. It was September 22nd, 1990. I was off by several weeks, but it was a big deal. Before I get to Aaron Chappell in a moment, I remember, and I don't know if Michael Day remembers this, but it was the first real two-parter or cliffhanger in Star Trek, and the first one was in June. Star Trek fans were just, oh my God, losing their minds. And when it debuted in late September, I remember my parents came over. I had friends come over, and you were watching part one again. And there was a moment where we walked outside on a commercial break, and we were able to look down the street. There was no traffic, nowhere. People were actually home. And I'm talking about the metropolis of Los Angeles. And you're like, well, you're on the residential street. Well, we were outside, my father and I, and we heard Star Trek in stereo in the neighborhood. Either I lived in Trekkie Central or people were watching it. And it was a big deal. People were watching because it was damn good television. And the thing about Patrick Stewart assuming the role of captain and being a liked character changed shortly thereafter. Michael, do you remember when it was Patrick Stewart as Captain Picard was a polarizing figure? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It's crazy, folks, to even think of that now. And he was. But anyway, it's not about me, and I apologize. Aaron Chappell, how did you get, was it your mama? Because for me, it was my mama. She got me into Star Trek. I was actually born right before the original Star Trek went off air, and my oldest was born just a bit before the Next Generation went off air. So a little bit of symmetry there, I guess, or just Lucky timing.
It definitely wasn't my mum that got me into Star Trek.
Oh.
The only thing we'd be watching as kids would be sports on the TV, so it definitely wasn't any sci-fi.
Can I just say that Aaron was born when Enterprise was being made? Just to put that into context.
Wow.
Hey, what
yeah. All of a sudden, this gray is very clear. Go ahead, Aaron. That was funny, though. That was good.
Let's just say, Jesse, I was born post 2000s, so
wow.
I will say nothing further.
That's fair.
But probably really getting into Star Trek, my first exposure would have been Lower Decks with Aaron, and I was watching it and I was like, this is ridiculous. Why are we watching this show? And to the point that I'd be falling asleep in these episodes just because I just had no interest in them. Which I have gone back and watched in full because it is very funny going back to watch it. But then actually looking in the live action, but the real life series would have been Voyager. We watched all of Voyager probably in the first year of us knowing each other. We watched all 7 seasons of Voyager, which I would go back and watch again in a heartbeat. But yeah, I never really got into the original series. We've watched episodes here and there, but not watched it as a whole. But yeah, we just watched Trials and Tribulations today, actually.
Good stuff.
That was the only way we could get into the original series. But that was a very good episode of Deep Space Nine. But yeah, I feel like if I hadn't met Aaron, like I hate to say this, but I probably still to this day would never have watched Star Trek, would never have known about it, would never have been involved in this. So it's crazy how you meet someone and then you watch all these shows or make all these films and here you are 2 years later still doing it. So it's great.
It definitely is. And I appreciate that, Aaron. That's really cool. That's good knowing. Star Trek Lower Decks is definitely not for everyone. I know Michael and I get a kick out of it, but we've lost track of all the Easter eggs and stuff. I think that stuff's out of control, but it doesn't matter. But hardcore stuff, gentlemen, you're now involved in it. Frasier, Star Trek speaks to everyone. I know this is super hardcore stuff, but what does Star Trek mean to you now? I'm curious. I always ask everyone this. And by the way, Eddie, I get it. My uncle would make us watch it after wrestling. Surely enough, it grew on me. That is so cool. Thanks, Eddie, for sharing that. Frasier, when you watch Star Trek, what does it mean to you?
That is a good question. Let me buy myself some time to answer that one.
Fair enough.
Star Trek. I think to me, I guess it's about like journey. I think journey seems like a good way to journey and exploration, because the whole thing's about star fleets and kind of exploring and settling in the great expanses of more than just Earth, and seeing how different species and stuff come together to make like a federation and everything. I think journey, I don't know how to explain it, but like journey and exploration and that kind of new age of discovery.
That's cool. Appreciate that. And I should have let you guys know I was going to ambush you with that question, and I'm sorry.
No, you gotta.
It's and I appreciate that. It means a lot, man, and it's cool to know. And Jesse, I'm coming for you, and Aaron, I'm coming for you, and Eddie in the chat room. You've already heard Aaron's opinion. You've heard mine and Michael. We don't want to bore the audience with that. I will touch on it a little bit, but no, Jesse, what is? I know that you guys are. I was almost going to say kids. Oh my god! I know that you guys are coming at this from a much younger perspective. Oh, I think I did it either way. Damn it! I think I'm drooling now. Forgive me. I'm so sorry. Jesse, what is Star? Does it speak to you? What does it mean? When you know the questions on the table.
I think camaraderie comes to mind quite a lot, and the really building relationships between. I know you could almost think of it more from a militaristic standpoint, where there's very much levels to command and different sections of the ship and that sort of thing. I definitely got that a lot from watching some of the episodes, especially when Riker was taking control, when the plan to rescue Picard was, when it's in effect, you really see that levels of they still have their command chain, but they're still people, and they're still there for each other. And I think the kind of human experience, it's gonna translate across any sort of TV show or any sort of series, and I find quite a lot of meaning in that, I suppose, because it works. Like, everyone can kind of relate to it, even if you don't know everything about the universe. You can still see the emotion and the struggles of the characters, and I think that's really relatable, which I hope I brought to Sam. But
that's all of you did. Yes, no, all of you did.
And it would be a much stronger connection, obviously, if I had that nostalgia tie to it. So that's why I definitely understand the intense passion that people have in, like, the Star Trek fans and all that sort of thing. Even though my knowledge isn't on that level, but yeah, I definitely understand that. I totally get it. So yeah,
Star Trek's open to everyone.
Yeah, that's kind of what it means to me, I guess. Thanks.
I appreciate that. And you touched on something that I'm listening to all of you, but again, Jesse, you mentioned moments. DeForest Kelley was interviewed prior to Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. And I'm a 1%er when it comes to Star Trek. He said Star Trek is built on moments. And
yes.
We've talked about that indirectly on moments. And you get a lot of that in this episode. You get a lot of it in everything that we've seen in, what you guys have done in Star Trek. We talked about the tear. We talked about Kate when she was going through all that stuff. Star Trek is built on moments. And I remember my youngest daughter. Look, Star Trek Into Darkness. It's hard for some fans to like it, but I'm getting Star Trek, folks, as an adult. It's beautiful. My youngest daughter, I had my oldest on one side and my youngest on the other. We're watching Into Darkness. And all of you have seen it, right? Yeah, you've all seen Into Darkness. When Kirk runs into the reactor, my daughter in the theater says, "Oh my God, they're switching it up." And I'm like, holy crap, she remembers the Wrath of Khan. And it's like, she's enjoying this. This is really cool. It's a wonderful connection. My mother to me to my daughters. It means a lot more than that, but it was built on moments. And I remember that moment vividly. And there's a lot more for me as for Michael and for Aaron. But Aaron Chappell, what does Star Trek, you're a producer on this now. You're involved, a big deal, and your work shows forth. What does Star Trek mean to you?
I know, producing it, you don't dip your toes in, you just dive straight in, don't you?
Yeah.
I feel like, to me, at the moment with watching Deep Space Nine, you've noticed how political some episodes are, and how, like, even to today, like, this was filmed a number of years ago, like, how much meaning it still has today with some episodes, and how relevant it is. But more like on like a Star Trek overall, I feel like it's just, to me, it's like the fantasy of you're going to all these different worlds. It's sort of putting yourself in their shoes and exploring places that you've never been before. So I'm one who's always, like, I'm really creative. I can't do the same thing. So just seeing these different sets, locations, whatever it could be, like putting myself in their shoes just to see and to dream as such, like, about these places that could actually be out there, but we just haven't discovered them yet. So it's, dreaming and being, like, having that fantasy that one day we actually could go out there and explore these strange new worlds. No pun intended.
None.
But yeah.
Wow. No, that is really good stuff. Now, we're going to have more people watch this. So, Aaron, yourself, I asked you this question once before, and I'm getting pedantic now by asking it again. But look, you bring everyone together to do this stuff. You know the admiration that I have for you and what you and everyone does down there in Western Australia. Star Trek has a meaning for all of us. It's an individual, unique thing. It represents many things. Aaron, go ahead. Share with us again. What does it mean to you?
I mean, I guess for me, yeah, it does mean a lot. I got into Star Trek through my dad. It was always a family thing. We were growing up that we sit down and watch Star Trek. We still sit down and watch Star Trek together when like the new shows come out. For me as a kid, I'm half Italian, so I recognized a massive part of family and relying on other people and having people around you that support you and stuff, and that was prevalent in all the shows. You can see that in behind the scenes with the casts and how they get on and things like that. So one thing that I've noticed recently is that as they seem to get older, a lot of the cast sort of like reflecting on things, and there's all these Star Trek podcasts with like the actors from the shows, and they're rewatching episodes and they're reviewing them and they're having guests on, and they're sort of exploring probably for the first time and understanding why people love Star Trek so much and love them so much, and why they have fans and why fans respond to certain things. So I think, for them, it's the first time they've probably realized how much people like Star Trek, and that it means so much to different people in different ways. So
it does. It in so many different ways. We can't even come up with a spreadsheet for all the different ideas and stuff. It means everything. It means something to everyone. I've asked Michael, and I'll ask him in a moment just to remind everyone. But I'll tell you this. I had a chance. Oh, by the way, gentlemen, think about this. Michael is on the East Coast of the United States. I'm on the West Coast. You guys are in Western Australia. Think of the internet connection that we have. You probably don't understand this, gentlemen, but I've done interviews, and Michael knows, that we've done international on the radio, on the internet, and there's a delay due to there's a horrible, wretched timeline. That doesn't exist anymore. And it's really cool. Think about it. We are at least 10,000 miles apart. And yet this is almost instant. That is amazing technology.
And we're all connected because of one topic that somehow has been transmitted around the world, and we've all put together.
Very well. Yeah, that is.
But I think that's the good thing about doing these projects is that, like sort of Fraser and Jesse have been saying, and even Aaron, not everyone on these projects is a Star Trek fan. Like, it's probably just me, really. Like, but I'm not approaching this from like, I want to play Star Trek and I want, everyone to dress up and live out my fantasy and whatever. Like, this has been a fun project. It's a different project for people to work on. Like, it's not a very typical kitchen sink drama. It's like something different to put in your show reel, something to stretch your ability. And we've brought people together, not because they love Star Trek, just because they want to work on something cool, and the Star Trek part is a byproduct, and everyone watches it. People watch it around the world, and you have a different audience, and people respond to it immediately, and so it's connected us together, and it's made me work with people that hopefully in future, when the money rolls in, I can employ them and give a bit of it back. So yeah.
Then people look at Jesse and say, didn't he play Nightwing?
Oh, all right. Let's hear it.
Oh my God. How do you know about that?
Well, and I could also talk about Skeleton Girls too, but let's talk about Nightwing first.
Oh man.
That's his job. That's what he does.
Yeah, no, Nightwing was that was a really fun one actually. Was project. I think it was 2018. Let me have a look.
As in the cartoon series Nightwing?
No, I actually did a fan film where I played Nightwing about.
Oh wow!
Yeah, 3 or 4 years ago. As you say, Star Trek means a whole lot to a lot of different people, and I guess my exposure to it is only been increased with Aaron, in the same way that these other characters have, and it really drives those stories and what the characters stand for on, I suppose, a personal, relatable level. Even if they're a superhero or whatever, it's kind of the core of what makes them a human being. But yeah, that was a nice little trip down memory lane. Yeah, I need to rewatch it. It's on YouTube. It's been quite a while since I watched it. But yeah, anyway.
That's cool. I'll have to check that out. Aaron, you got to play the Endorian in the background.
I did.
How long
I
was
had
the
a
makeup,
cameo.
man?
Oh, probably about half an hour, 45 minutes. But yeah, I had my first speaking line in this one, but I'm not sure if you've noticed it, but in Beyond the Sun and in Outbreak, the Endorian was there again. It's just this time was more prevalent.
All right, fair enough. I actually did not remember that, and I've been paying attention to all these episodes, so I did see that you were in there, and I know so we didn't get a chance to ask you about that. So that's right, you do have more to do on that one.
But Aaron, my one condition is I have to have a speaking line, and I got that speaking line, even though it was just a yes, ma'am. I was set. I was fine. My acting career had started and finished in the same day. It was great.
That is good stuff. Look, you had a lot of feel to the movie First Contact in this episode. It is absolutely awesome when Rachel, I'm not sure the character name that she has, but she goes out to disengage the maglocks. That was really cool, man. And the screens and stuff, everything you did. It's really good. The production values, folks, for everyone watching, I'm sure there's a lot of fans of your endeavors, but for everyone else, it's worth your time. There's good stories, very well done. Your episodes average about 30. Well, not always, huh? This is one of your longer ones, right? This is about 25 minutes.
Yeah, probably the longest one, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really good. There's a scene that I have here. I mean, dude, that's First Contact, man. It really looked good. These production values are awesome. You had the sound effects, you had everything. The background noise of the Borg, I guess. What do you call that? That's not sound effects, right? That's what when you have the the Borg sound that we recognize.
Yeah, I would say the
Is it
sound.
sound
Well,
effects?
there's different layers to it. So there's like ambience, have just different sound effect tracks, and then there's like Foley, footsteps, dialogue. So
It was really good. This is the Warp Core when it got. It was really cool. It was neat. There's a lot of good stuff to watch in this episode, ladies and gentlemen. You guys got to check it out. It is absolutely good stuff. I know that I was able to watch it again this morning. That's why I was a little tardy to get here. I was deliberately watching again, so it was fresh in my mind. And I did see it
To get another
yesterday
view.
as well. Oh, of course. Yeah. So it's 4 views now. Sorry. Okay, you're gonna have to adjust your total views. And right now, with about a month in, you're at well over 30. You're almost at 40,000, huh? Views on the
Probably.
episode. Yeah.
I don't try and look.
You know what? Hey, at 40, I think you're at 38,000, if I remember correctly. It's really good stuff, man. And I'm looking forward to the blooper reel and seeing the behind the work stuff. Really good. Are there any other items that you want to share with us about this episode or tease us? Well, you've already teased us on an upcoming project. But you're going to keep this going, right, Aaron? I mean, you're far from done.
I would like to. Definitely going to take a little break, and then we'll see what happens in the future. We'll probably, who knows? We probably might end up doing a Kickstarter or a Indiegogo or something, and plan out our next series of 3 stories. But yeah, I'm definitely going to try and keep the sort of accounts going with content for this year anyway. So something at least.
That's good. I think that's the best thing you can do. And it keeps everything going. Look, if you're going to ask for an Indiegogo campaign, fans will always donate. Just if you ask for $1 million, just make sure you put something on, as opposed to someone else who's collected well over $1 million. And I don't think we've seen anything from them yet. But what do I know?
Well,
I don't know.
The good thing about this is that I have 8 films to show. Yeah, if we need a show reel or a little sizzle reel, there it is. So,
there's 8 episodes.
We'll leave it at that.
There it is, 8 episodes. Actually,
with $1 million.
And obviously I am. Yeah, obviously I am slamming someone on that, and there are things that are out there. But look, hurry up and get it out, dude. And I'm talking about an episode that they've collected so much money for. It's just, it keeps getting put off and put off and put off. So I'll leave it at that too. We won't. That wasn't Aaron's comments; they're my comments. So it's all good. All right. So Michael, do you have any other questions or?
Did Fraser wanted to say anything about what I said, or?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Are we talking about?
Yeah. You tried to avoid what I said. Yeah.
Oh, I thought I was happy to let it go, but
or you can talk about any other projects you've done. I just said Skeleton Girls. Or is there something else that you wanted, that you might want to talk about that you've done?
No,
before we close. So
I think we can. Yeah, I mean, Skeleton Girls was, I think that was 2018 as well.
So pre-COVID then.
Yeah, it's just before COVID was a thing. And funnily enough, I think I had prosthetic in that one as well. So I think I'm just cursed to wear prosthetics on my face for it was some like it's some like, I don't know what I can say, but it's like it was like a grimy, druggy kind of thing. And I remember I was at uni when I was doing it, so I just I stayed up I worked till my job till 9 p.m. and then I did my assignment, which was due 2 a.m. and then call time was 5 a.m. and then there was like a bus strike, so I had to take the train and then I had to take an Uber, and I was just running on like 2 hours sleep. I was miserable, and then they straight into the synthetics chair again to put some prosthetics on, and then they use this like alcohol. It was like to help it stick, and it was just the worst thing. And this is like 5 a.m. Yeah, just miserable. So I guess I'm just cursed to wear prosthetics for every film. But yeah.
Well, hopefully not the next one.
No, fingers crossed. I'd rather be a dead body again than
Oh, would you? Okay.
Fraser, be careful what you wish for, because that body could end up being maimed, and there could be some like metal post sticking out. You'd never know.
Yeah, it's true. That is true. As long as they pay me this time,
yeah, that would be good. Yes. Wow. All right, I like that. Aaron, any last thoughts or anything else that you'd like to go over? Something we missed. I know we missed a lot.
No, that's it really. Thank you for having us. Thank you for having the half the cast anyway. I guess these guys don't get an opportunity to talk about this film. So it's great that they've been invited and have the opportunity to talk about their experiences. So thank you.
Yeah, we love to have as much of the cast on as we can, because they don't get as much airtime as the producers do. They really don't. But they deserve to have.
And let me tell you, look, I know we are who we are, and you'll consider. Look, we've been on since 2008. We've been on our radio portion. We were listened to well over 600,000 times. So we're tiny, but we're not super tiny, And our views are increasing every day. And it's funny. I think Aaron gets some views from us, but he gets them in like the tens. Whenever we have him on, we get the views in the thousands. so it is a very unequal relationship right here.
Yeah. Oh, and Aaron,
That's
I just
okay.
wanted
It's
to
always
say
nice to
that-
have a chat.
Aaron, I just wanted to say John says hi.
Hello.
Oh,
John, all right.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it was really cool. I was funny that Michael would say that, but gentlemen, look, if you guys ever want to be on, again, you want to talk about any of the other prior projects, you want to talk about anything that you're working on, you want to just shoot the shite, as they say, you're more than welcome. I do appreciate it. Obviously, Aaron knows that he has an open invitation, and he really had an open invitation, didn't he, Michael?
Yes, he did. Still working on that second one that I said I was going to try to get for him.
Yeah.
We did deliver on one. We were a little stuck up. We said it on air. We were going to interview someone, and we said, "Hey, we should have Aaron on with us." And lo and behold, and let me tell you, obviously we're talking about John Billingsley, Dr. Phlox, and we said we would have Aaron on, and Aaron was ready to go. Boy, was he ready to go! Aaron, you carried that interview.
I was very nervous, so I needed to.
Malarkey, man! It did not come across. Not only was he prepared, and I mean that literally, he had so many questions. I guess it was kind of, I don't mean to say John Billingsley, Dr. Phlox. It was kind of blasé for Michael and myself. So it's just a conversation. Aaron kept us on task. He kept asking really good questions, and John did enjoy the interview because of it. Which is really good. And that was a lot of fun. If you guys ever want to be on an interview with us, you're more than welcome. Oh, we just got another like right now. Let me see. Donna Smith Parker. Hey, Michael. Donna Smith Parker is from another program, is it not?
Another fan film. Mm-hmm.
Another fan film. So they're watching. Donna Smith Parker is the spouse to Mr. Parker. I forget his first name right now. Oh my God.
Frank.
Frank Parker. Which program is he involved in?
He's
that means
involved.
Frank's watching.
Well, it depends. I mean, he started Dreadnought Dominion.
Yes.
And then he left that show. Someone else took over.
Yeah.
And now he's on Crossroads Gemini Project.
That's it right there. So Frank
theoretically
is
with
right
me
now.
as a producer, but I don't do much with that one.
I call Michael, and he gets so mad when I say this, but he is a godfather to fan film productions because he is involved in so many. And the reason why you gentlemen are here on with us right now is because of Michael. Michael is a friend and a godfather to many fan films. And he doesn't like it when I say that. He volunteers. He goes. He travels to the productions to help them out.
I travel to some. See, I was being serious when I wrote you about that when you were looking for people. I said, I wish I could come to Australia. I really do.
Yeah. But. We creeped Aaron out last time because, Michael and I were just planning to show up in Perth to visit with Aaron. And Aaron was like, holy crap. That was kind of funny, but I said it. I'm sorry, man. But
I was just worried I wouldn't have anything to show for it. That's all.
Oh, hey, if you would have.
Yeah, we want to come and see your sets. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Hang out in the garage.
To the rubbish chip where they currently exist.
Well, look, I'm in my garage, so go figure. It's we've done Game of Thrones stuff. That's what those signals are.
Yeah,
right
I
over
saw
there.
that. Yeah,
like
going on there.
We've done Game of Thrones, and actually, like I said, we've been on since 2008. I'm not trying to make this about us, but we've been on for a while. We've had the privilege to interview so many people, and it crosses all genres, all barriers. I was going to say earlier that Star Trek, to me, being that I'm a minority, even here in the United States, for me, it was Voyager. Michael and I joke about that Aaron and I got along very well, and we did. It's like, it was cool, and we have a similar love of stuff. I admire what he does, what also Aaron Chappell does, what Jesse does, and what Frazier, what all of you do, and everyone involved. I'm a massive fan of what you guys do. And for me, I got a chance to sit down and watch Voyager. There was the first series as an adult that I was able to watch through at a normal hour from a normal job. And for me, and I also had a tour of the Voyager sets by Joe Minosky, the writer-producer. He arranged a tour for me. So Voyager is, for me, it means a great deal. My daughters were born during Voyager. And Star Trek does mean a great deal to me. I had a chance to interview Nichelle Nichols, the original Uhura, and I was trying to share something with her, but let's just say that the interview went an hour, and we'll leave it at that. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. She's a nice lady, but it was an interview that we got to ask 3 questions in an hour. We'll leave it at that. She's passed on. It's not for me to say anything, but we were privileged to be able to interview her, and she told her story about Star Trek and stuff, and it was really exciting. And for me, it was Robert Beltran, who I've also interviewed. And being able to make those connections is just incredible. You gentlemen are on the same lines as they are. You're doing art. You're getting to do something that you enjoy. And for us fans, you get to do stuff that we'll never, ever do. And it's exciting. It's fun. We live vicariously through you. Aaron said something about, this is not me wanting to act and do this, the ego thing. It's not. It is really cool. He does it because he's a filmmaker, he's a producer, he's a creator. That's what all of you are. And Michael and I and everyone else watching, we're lucky. We get to see what you do. And we appreciate all them sweat, all them tears, all those disgusting things, We get it.
All the face falling off.
Yes. When you share this stuff with us, it makes it, I was going to say real-er. It makes it real. And we eternally thank you. It's just absolutely awesome what you do. We hope you continue to do it because these to boldly go, Jesse, you said, or no, Aaron, you said it, strange new worlds, you guys are going to places where we only dream of. That's absolutely awesome. I hope that your endeavors now then lead to even more. And I can't wait to see what you guys are going to do. Take your break, Aaron, but that's it, dude. Just a break. All right. I'm not telling you what to do, but
he's telling you what to do.
Yeah. I sorry. I'm an old man. Just let it go.
I think the craziest part for me, I don't know if you've felt the same, Aaron, but I know it's dangerous to read the comments on YouTube, but I don't think I've seen a negative one yet. Which I'm like, am I on YouTube?
Not of this film, no.
Yeah, which was quite lovely actually, but it to me really highlighted how desperately people want good films, but good fan films, and to see the support and the appreciation from people. Just I'm literally looking at them now, and I've been looking at them for basically since it came out, and it's really lovely. And even like in the scheme of YouTube, I suppose like some things get millions and millions of views, but I'm like, if you put 38,000 people in a football stadium and you think about how many people that is, I'm like, that's to me that's pretty mind blowing. Mm-hmm. And just seeing the appreciation is just like, it's hard to put into words sometimes. But
another thing is, you're not in the largest broadcast audience in the world. Even though you're on the internet, you're in Australia. This isn't a shot against you guys. You really are in a corner of the Star Trek universe. And we are grateful that you spend time with us so we can help you get word out. I have to give a play to them because when he found out that you were going to be on the first time, James Haney, executive producer of the audio program Starship Excelsior, which let me tell you, you guys, I wonder what both of you guys could do if you guys got to work together, because he does an awesome episodic based program. And if you guys were to get together and do stuff, and hey, there's the marriage made in heaven. I'm kind of hoping if you guys were to get together on something, holy Borg. When he found out you were going to be on, he was like, hey, these guys do good stuff. That was his comment, so you're
That's
known
good.
to other
Good to know
producers.
that we have a bit of a reputation. It's always good.
Yes,
And a good one.
and you know, you give a run, you give the studios a run for their money. There's no doubt about it. And other productions see what you guys do, and they try to do it. Aaron, in many ways, you are fortunate because you have a stable core of people. Other productions, it's you do amazing work considering where you are and what you're able to do. But hey, I will bore you to death in my accolades that I have for you. You know, I admire what you guys do.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's absolutely awesome. I admire all the fan film programs. It's really good. So I just had to give Excelsior a shout out. That would be one of my Star Trek porno dreams. Starship Excelsior. And these are the voyages getting together or something. That would be awesome. That really would be. But anyway. Sorry. I know I had to say it. Michael, take over. Let's end this.
Yes, we probably should end this because we had it on a while.
It was good porno, guys. Come on. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, but I would like to thank everyone for coming on your Friday night, our early Friday morning. But it has been a pleasure. We asked Aaron, said as soon as Resistance come out, we'd like to get the cast on with us, and I'm glad you all could come. I'm sorry the others couldn't come, but hey, it's great. But just sign off from NDB Media and from Trekking Across the Universe. Thanks everyone for joining us. If you're going to watch us later, look it up. If you have any questions, put it in the chat and we'll see if we can get an answer for you if your question was not answered here. But so I'd like to, say peace and enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend, everyone. And that's it, unless Roger wants to say anything else.
Yeah, it was a small production. We can actually mention everyone that was involved. We have Fraser, we have Jesse, we have Kate, we had Rachel, of course, Aaron, who also had a role. Who else? This was a very small production.
Yeah, Clayton Orgles, DOP, Blake Thompson, Gaffer, camera assist, Stephen Clark, first AD, Melissa Clarkson, makeup. I have my mum doing catering and costume, dad doing on-set assistance and other random stuff. Jack Ryan, my friend Jack, came to help one day. I think that's everybody. The late Majel Barrett, I used her voice.
Oh, yes. Yeah, really good job on that, too. So there it is.
Yeah.
Folks, Michael, thank you. Good job. I'm going to ask Aaron, as an honorary co-host, who's all, well, no, you're not honorary. You are a...
No, he was a co-host.
Yeah, he is a host on the network. Sorry, but we'll talk about that later. Aaron, why don't you take us away? Last thoughts, man, and end this one.
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you, Fraser and Jesse and Aaron, for being here. It's always lovely to have more voices in a conversation. So yeah, thank you. Stay safe and keep trekking across the universe.
See you guys on the other side. Peace.
Cheers. Thank you.